بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Last time we talked about Jumla Ismiya and Jumla Fi'liyyah. We did this summary. I hope you can all remember that. So we did this and we talked about a little bit about Jumla Ismiya, and we did exercises on Jumla Ismiya. So today, inshallah, I just want us to focus on Jumla Fi'liyyah because there's quite a lot to cover in Jumla Fi'liyyah, and we have a lot of exercises that cover different concepts. And that's kind of just what I wanted us to cover, inshallah. And hopefully by the end of this session, I will show you how much we have done so far, and you can really appreciate how many concepts we've done in such a short time, just using exercises. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Gausia, we will discuss this, I think, at the end of the class, your question, because right now we'll just get into the session and then we can see if that is possible, or maybe discuss it in the group.
Sure,
Okay.
sister.
Okay, great.
Walaikum salam.
All right, so let's get into the exercise. So we have exercise 1. The instructions is identify the different parts of Jumla Fi'liyyah. So remember we said that Jumla Fi'liyyah is 4 parts: فعل, فاعل, مفعول, متعلق بالفعل, and then you can have other parts that come in after that, like tamyiz, badal, all these other things that come after a complete sentence, things like that. So we'll see if there is, we'll find it. So that's basically it, and then we can try and figure out the translation. All right, it might not be perfect because this is the Quran, but just to see our understanding of this. All right, so what do you guys think? The first one is خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. What is the فعل? What is the مفعول? What is the متعلق? What is anything else that we can see in this ayah?
خلق is the فعل. Who is the مفعول به?
This is supposed to be blue. Okay, so خلق is the فعل, and then who is the? You said مفعول, right?
مفعول به.
Yeah, so that's the مفعول به, and who's the فاعل?
فاعل is هو.
The inside pronoun in خلق, right?
ضمير متصل, right?
Yes, مستتر.
مستتر, okay.
Yeah.
And من تراب is جار مجرور, so it's متعلق بالفعل. ثم is حرف عطف.
Yeah.
And قال is the فعل. And هو is the ضمير مستتر هو.
Yes. So this one we can collect gray because it's something extra. So we'll just collect gray, okay? And له?
It's جار مجرور متعلق بالفعل. And كن فيكون. كن is كان, right? So it's
Yes.
مبتدا.
Yeah, so but remember when we have قال and then we have something else, what does that become? كن.
مقول القول لا محل في الإعراب.
It's actually في محل نصب مفعول به.
في محل نصب مفعول به.
Yeah, because it answers the question, what did he say? He said this. So it's protected by quotes, but then it's في محل نصب مفعول به.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that's basically our sentence there. You can see how many fi'als. And of course, this قال is starting a new sentence because you have حرف عطف here. ثم, it could be like signaling a new sentence. Sometimes حرف عطف, they connect. Sometimes it's استئناف. It just starts a new sentence. Okay. The second one. فلما ذهب عن إبراهيم الروع وجاءته البشرى. There's more to this ayah that continues. But what do you guys think is happening here? So what kind of a word is fa?
Is it حرف عطف?
Yes. So that's حرف عطف. We'll leave it alone. Then we come back to لما. What kind of word is لما?
Lightest harf.
Yes. So it's the lightest harf, but we also know it can come with ماضي as well. So we ask ourselves, what is the next word that is coming after? Is it mudari'? Is it madi? And then we will ask ourselves what to do with it. What do you
It's a
guys think?
madi.
Madi.
It's a madi, yes. So there's no effect. We don't expect anything to happen. So we'll say, okay, fine, this is a harf. We'll just label it gray. It's something extra in the sentence. And then we have dhahaba.
Which is a fail.
So this is our fi'l. Then you have عن إبراهيم.
متعلق بالفعل.
And then you have الروع. What do you guys think is happening there?
It's a
دور. It's fine.
Yes, this is the fa'il. So this is going to be green. Because when you
Is it
have...
because of that rafa?
Sorry?
Is it because it's a rafa? Is it that's why it's the file?
Yes. So when you have ذهب, you have a
Yeah.
fi'il that is either huwa or here, can have an outside dua in the end. If you don't find something that is after and rafa, then the dua is inside. We can say the dua is inside pronoun. But if you can see something that is after and rafa, like in this case we can see الروع, then we can say that that is the fa'il of dhahaba. What did the action of going, it is this thing called الروع, which means fear or fright. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we didn't translate, so we should we'll go back to translating that. Anyway, let's finish this fast. So وجاءته البشرى. وجاء, we know واو is حرف عطف, so we can double that gray, no problem. جاءته. What do you think about this structure here?
جاءت is فعل.
So جاء is fi'il.
فعل
But
ماضي.
yes, فعل
Yeah.
ماضي. Here version.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the fi'il. So the ta would be what? Part of the fi'il still. But what does that tell you when you see ja'at, when you see here version?
We need to look for the outside door.
Yeah, we need to look for an outside door. If you find it, great. If you don't find it, then we can say she is the doer. Then you have the word al-bushra.
It's fully flexible.
It's non-flexible.
It's non-flexible, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think about a word like this then? How do we know if it's what could it be doing here?
It could be rafa.
Could be rafa, right? Because we ask
Yeah.
ourselves, okay, what in this sentence is feminine? And then we see bushra, it has alif maqsura right here, which we know it's a feminine thing to have.
Fake
So,
feminine.
yeah, it's a fake feminine, exactly. So we can tell ourselves, okay, fine, maybe bushra is the outside doer. This is the fa'il. So we're going to put that green and say that is the fa'il. And then we have who here. We forgot to... What is who?
It's maf'ul.
Yes, that is the maf'ul. Always an attached pronoun to a fi'il is going to be a maf'ul bihi. Maybe not coloring. Okay, it's refusing to color for some reason. So I'm just going to split that up and then color it separately. Okay, let's see if I join it back up, it will... Okay, good. It was just misbehaving. Okay, so now let's try and translate the first ayah. خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. Now that we figured out the parts. There's some feedback coming from somebody. Maybe you can mute yourself meanwhile. There's still some feedback. If you're not mute, please. Yeah. Okay. So maybe you can just unmute yourself when you want to speak so that we don't have a lot of noise. Okay. خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. What do you guys think? How do we translate this? Remember when you have a Jumlah Fi'liyyah, you start with the doer. Okay. So
He created
so
him.
He created
It. He created it.
Yeah. Okay, so you can say it or him. Min turabin.
From. Turabin. I don't know
Dust.
what turabin.
Dust.
We can say dart.
Dirt.
Like
Yeah, dirt.
yeah. From that,
then
then
he said
he said
to it,
to it, or to him.
be,
Then we're going to put the quotes. Be,
then,
so, okay, we can say then. Be, then it became,
it became.
right? So, okay, so it became, of course, is not part of the, I don't know if it's part of maqul al-qawl. I think be is the only maqul al-qawl. Then it became is just sort of like narrating what happened afterwards. Said to it be, and then it became. So
Okay.
fayakun here could be, this is a different sentence actually, so maybe we mislabeled this. So this could just be a fi'al. And then the fa, of course, is ataf. Yeah. Kana yakunu. Okay. This one, this structure, keep it in mind. We shall discuss this next week probably. So you see, because you know kana, we know that kana is a fa'al naqis, it's incomplete. It has to have a khabar, but in this case there's no khabar, right? You see that. فَيَكُونُ ماذا? What did it become? It doesn't say. So in this case there's a structure like this we will discuss next week inshallah. So keep that in mind. And then we have فَلَمَّا ذَهَبَ عَنْ إِبْرَاهِيمَ الرَّوْعُ وَجَاءَتْهُ الْبُشْرَى. So فَلَمَّا, what does lamma mean?
When?
Yes, when it comes in the madi, yeah, when it comes in the madi with a madi, it means when. When it comes with the mudari', what does it mean?
So that hopefully.
It means
Not yet.
not yet. Yes, it means not
Not.
yet.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll see an example like that. Okay, so when ذهب عن إبراهيم الروع. Remember when you're translating Jumlah Fi'liyyah, you start with the dua.
Yeah.
So what is our
So
dua then?
when Ru.
Yeah, so fear,
When
raw means like fear of right or
So when Ibrahim alayhi salam was taken by fear?
no. So we have to
fear.
figure out what is the fa'il. We said the fa'il is in the green part, remember? This is the
Yes.
dua. And when you're translating a Jumla Fi'liyyah, you always start in English because that's the structure. It's dua, then the act, then the object or whatever. That's the structure in English. So you start with the dua. And our dua is fear. So you have to say, when fear ذهب عن
Went.
Ibrahim. Yes, when fear went
Went.
away,
And towards Ibrahim.
away, an
Away.
is away
An. Away. Okay.
from Ibrahim. So fear like dissipated from him, or fear went away from him, like he was no longer scared. Is that part clear?
Yes.
Okay. And then we have وَجَاءَتْهُ الْبُشْرَى. So we know wa is and.
Good news came to him.
See, now we are translating the dua first and then the fi'al. And then good news came to him, because him is the outside pronoun who. Okay. So bushra, good news, or it could mean glad tidings. They like to use that word in the Quran a lot for translation. Yes. So yeah, that's fine. So this is the part where the angels came to him and he was afraid because he presented food to them and they didn't eat and he was a bit scared. And then they gave him new good news, and then fear went away. So that's what they're talking about there. Okay. لقد سمع الله قول الذين قالوا إن الله فقير ونحن أغنياء. So what are we looking at? What is lam? What is qad? Any ideas?
Does it mean already together?
So when qad comes in the madi, it means already.
Yeah.
And then lam, of course, lam at-tawkid in this case. So this is two emphases already here. You have la, and then you have qad. So that just at the back of our mind when we're doing translation, we would see, okay, so there's already, because already is some kind of an emphasis. Then you have lam at-tawkid here in the beginning. Then you have سمع الله قول الذين قالوا. سمع الله.
Samia is fail. Allahu is Lafzul Jalala is doer.
So this is our fa'il. Lafz al-jalala will be our fa'il. Do that green. And then قول الذين قالوا. What do you think is happening here?
قول الذين مضاف إليه, right? قولا
Yes, because it's light. We expect
مصدر
it to be, yes.
heavy.
So this is continuing. And of course, الذين is اسم موصول.
Mawsul. So
whatever.
Silatul Mawsul.
Yeah. So this one big whole bucket. But what is it? A big bucket of what?
Maf'ul.
What kind of a
Maf'ul
maf'ul?
bihi. Maf'ul bihi.
مفعول
What did he
به.
hear?
Yeah. So Allah has already heard. What did he hear? قول الذين قالوا إن الله فقير ونحن أغنياء. Okay, so that's whole one big bucket. And this would be our maf'ul bihi. Okay, so of course, if you go into this part, then you would realize qawla, like somebody said, is mudaf, alladhina is mudaf ilay, alladhina is isim mawsul, and whatever comes after the isim mawsul is silatul mawsul. And if you go inside the silatul mawsul, then you will see another sentence with qalu as the fi'il. So maybe I should just put a bracket in here, and then we can analyze that inside the bracket, inside the red bracket. So qalu would be
Fail.
would be our fi'il. Then what did they say? Would be our what?
مقول القول.
Yeah, another red.
مفعول به.
Yeah. And then we go inside that maf'ul bihi, what do we have?
إن الله مبتدأ فقير خبر وحرف عطف نحن مبتدأ أغنياء خبر.
Yes. So inside this maqul al-qawl is a jumla ismiya that is connected by harf atif to another jumla ismiya. So because we're not doing jumla ismiya, I didn't put any provision for labeling that. So, but we just understand, this is a mubtada khabar, and that's what's happening in this ayah. So you see how complex, how many brackets, like, Ustad mentioned that Arabs are mathematicians, like the way they speak their language is like math. You have brackets, you have X on the outside, you have algebra happening. It's just calculus. It's amazing, this language. Really remarkable. Anyway, so let's try and translate this. So remember, start with the dua.
Allah heard.
Allah already heard.
Because laqad, remember that emphasis that came before. So Allah already heard.
The word of
The word of
those who said, indeed Allah is poor and we are rich.
Yes. A'udhu billah. They managed to say something like this. It's blasphemous. It's very scandalous, And some people say this, oh, Allah is poor, we are the rich ones. A'udhu billah. But look at yourselves, like you're translating ayat of the Quran. This is not just some Arabic text. These are ayat of the Quran that, alhamdulillah, we are able to translate and we're able to understand the different moving parts of the ayat. Then we have فتحنا عليهم أبواب كل شيء. What's our فاعل? What's our فاعل? What's our مفعول? متعلق بالفعل.
فتحنا فعل ماضي.
So this is our...
نحن ضمير متصل inside pronoun.
So this will be our dua.
Yes, right. عليهم جار مجرور متعلق بالفعل.
Yes.
أبواب نصب. So مفعول به.
What's happening with
أبواب is light. كل is jar, so jar مجرور. No, مضاف إليه.
Yes.
كل is special مضاف. شيء is jar. So this whole bucket. So all is مفعول به.
Yeah. All is مفعول
في
به.
محل نصب.
Yes. Actually, no, it's mansub because you see abwaba, there's a fatha here. So, yeah, so the whole thing is just mansub. Already in nasab. Yeah. Look at that. That's amazing. what we are able to do here. So how do we translate that? فتحنا, remember, start with the dua.
We opened
Mm-hmm.
on them.
On them or for them. Sometimes with this jar majroors, this ala, bi, they're very flexible. Sometimes bi can be translated as with, or can be translated differently. So we'll just stick on them or upon them. It's fine. We open on them.
The
Abwab.
doors and everything.
Doors.
So is it proper or not proper? This idafa here. What do you guys think?
It is
Common.
because it's mudaf ilayh, right?
Yes.
That's why it's proper.
No, shay'in is
Mm.
common.
Ah,
Shay'in is common.
Shay'in is common.
yeah. So we don't say
Doors
the
common.
door.
Common.
So we'll
All
just
the
say
doors.
not all.
Doors. The doors for everything.
Yes. Doors of everything. Yeah, not
Ashkana,
all.
why
Yes.
sorry, why did you make it red nasab? How do we know the whole thing will be nasab?
Okay. So let's take it slow. So
Yes.
when we come to abwaba,
Yes.
we notice something that it's light. There's
Yes.
no al on it and it's
Yes.
light.
Yes.
So we ask ourselves, why is it light? Could it be a mudaf? And if it's a mudaf, then we look at the next word. Is it majroor? Does it have a kasra? Then we realize kulli has a kasra. So that tells us that this qualifies as a mudaf ilayh. So abwaba kulli is a mudaf ilayh. And then we look at kulli, we know kulli is a special mudaf, like a sister mentioned. So kulli, and because it has, we look at the next word and ask ourselves, is it majroor as well? And we realize it is majroor. So this whole thing then becomes connected, and it's like one big bucket. And that's how we say this whole thing is just maf'ul bihi.
Even though the shay'in is heavy at the end.
So heaviness doesn't really affect the bucket,
Okay.
because we expect the default nature of an isim is to be heavy. That's the default. We don't expect it to be light. If it's light, like abwaba, then we have to ask ourselves, why is it light? If in the end here it was light, then we will also ask ourselves, why is it light? Then we will have to look at something that comes after it and see if it could be a mudaf ilayh. So this is the default.
This is only in the bucket because it's got a kasra in it, and this one has a kasra as well. Is that right?
Yeah, so this is connected to this one, and this one is connected to this one.
Because of the kasra.
Yes. Because you know how a mudaf ilayh is structured? Mudaf, light, no al. Mudaf ilayh has to have a kasra, or has to be in jar status.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Then we have وَإِلَى اللَّهِ تُرْجَعُ الْأُمُورِ. What do you think is happening here?
Ilallahi is jar majroor.
Mhm.
Mutalik bil fi'l. Turja'u is passive. Passive, and it's here. So al umur is a broken plural. So it's a file of turja'u.
Yeah, so this is a passive fi'l. So يرجع, then it becomes يرجع, يرجعان, يرجعون, ترجع, and then you do all that line. But if you have to do the sarf, sorry, I meant to do the sarf صغير. يرجع, sorry, رجع يرجع رجوعا فهو راجع. رجع, no, what am I doing? Yeah, رجع يرجع. Yeah, that's where we are. يرجع. I was a bit confused. So رجع يرجع. And of course, whatever comes after it, if it's rafa, then what would that become?
Na'ibul fa'il.
Na'ibul fa'il. We don't call it fa'il, we call it na'ibul fa'il. Although I'm going to color it green because I didn't put provision for that. So maybe we should just color it gray to be safe. Don't want somebody coming to me and ask, oh, it's different. Yeah, it is different because this al-umur, it's basically a maf'ul bihi that got turned into a na'ibul fa'il. So of course, when we're translating this, we have to factor in that this is passive, and so we'll translate it as passive. Like something got done to it. We don't know who did the doing. All right. And of course, what do you think is happening? Wa ilallahi coming before. Is this a normal sentence structure?
No.
It's ikhtisas. It's
Yes. Because this is
Lillahi
muqaddam.
only to
muqaddam.
Allah. Only to Allah.
All the matters will return.
Yeah. Okay. So only to
I just wanted to ask you one question about that Fatahna alayhim abwaba kulli shay'in. So is kulli shay'in, isn't that muta'alliq bil fi'l?
متعلق بالفعل. Okay,
Because it's causing mudaf ilayna, Sister Islam. It's making a fragment of like special zarf, and it's
so
so don't be treated as yeah.
okay.
Abwaba is, I know that, but they is, so the whole thing is
Yeah, so you can't separate a break. If you find something is connected, you can't like stop here and say, okay, this is going to be maf'ul, and then this is going to be muta'alliq bil fi'l.
is it muta'alliq bil fi'l?
No, in this case, it is not, because it's connected. It's you see,
Yes.
like this is one bucket. It's sort of connected. If this abwab was abwaban, if it wasn't light, if it was abwaban with another fatha, then we could say, yeah, fatahna alayhim abwaba, but then of course kulli would not be majroor. It would have to be kulla, because special dhaf of time, they're always mansub. So fatahna alayhim abwaban kulla shayin. Of course, I don't know what that would mean, but it would be very weird. So that's the only way. But if there's a continuation in the chain, you don't break the chain, because you think, okay, this is special mudaf, maybe it could be muta'alliq bil fi'l. Not every time you see a special mudaf or you see a jar majroor, it's muta'alliq bil fi'l. Sometimes it could be part of a connection. Like in this case, this one is light, no al. This one is majroor, so definitely mudaf ilayh. And this one, of course, special mudaf, and this one is majroor, then it's connected like that, and therefore this is one connected bucket, and we don't separate the bucket. So just because this one was light.
Okay.
Right. And then again, of course, if that doesn't still make sense to you, then try and translate it the way you're thinking it and see if it actually makes sense. Most of the time, it might not even make sense, because you would say, okay, we opened for them doors, and then this has to be connected to the fi'l. So we opened everything upon them, doors. It kind of like doesn't make sense, because if you say it's muta'alliq bil fi'l, it has to go back to the fi'l. If you say something is muta'alliq bil khabar, it has to go back to the khabar. Like it's extra information about the fi'l or extra information about the khabar. I hope that was clear. Okay, so let's try and translate this other ayah. وَإِلَى اللَّهِ تُرْجَعُ الْأُمُورُ. So only to Allah, how do I say? So affairs, we can say al-umur,
Matters.
or matters, yes. Easier English, matters are, because again it's passive, we're going to say are returned.
Returned.
Yeah. Turja. We don't know who's returning them, but they're being returned. And I'm saying are, I'm using are because it's mudari' here. Mabni lil majhul. So that's why I'm saying are. If it was madi, we would say were returned. But are, or you can even say are being returned, because it's mudari' mabni lil majhul, is continuous.
It has al on it, al umur. So all the matters.
Yeah, you can do that. Amr is a masdar, so masdars normally have al on them. So and sometimes in English we don't translate the only to Allah, the matters, so we don't really translate the because it's a masdar. I don't know, like for example, if I say knowledge, in Arabic I'm going to say al-ilm, but in English I'm just going to say knowledge. I'm not going to say the knowledge. or the wisdom. If I say in English, it's just going to, in Arabic, it's going to be, I'm going to put al on it. But in English, I'm going to remove the al on it. So only to Allah matters are being returned. I didn't understand your point. Oh, what did you mean by all the matters? Maybe it's a misunderstanding on the al, the function of the al.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah, the ikhtisas comes here. So wa ila Allahi, only to Allah. All right. So basically, as you can already see, we've covered different sentence structures, just different forms of Jumla Ismiya. We've covered fi'l in the beginning, and then you have muta'alliq bil fi'l, and then, something else. We have covered an outside dua here. This one is an outside dua. And also al-bushra was also an outside dua. And of course, lafzul jalala was also an outside dua. And then we've covered this kind of complex structure as maf'ul bihi. Just by these examples that we've covered several concepts here. Fatahna alayhim, again of mudaf ilayh and this whole chain of idafa. And then of course here the ikhtisas bit of it came in. And of course passives with just this one examples we've done passive. And now we're going to look at lan nadkhulaha. This is negation. It's a different kind of jumla fi'liyyah. Yeah? Oh, okay, so it's just noise. Okay, so لن ندخلها حتى يخرجوا منها. So what do you
Lan
think?
lighter.
Lan is lighter.
Uh-huh.
ندخل
Mm-hmm.
فعل
في الماضي.
ماضي
ندخل.
مضارع
مضارع.
نحن
Yes, ندخل مضارع نحن, and you can see the fatha on it means light. Lan had an effect here. And lan لكي إذا حتى. So it made it mansub,
light.
made it light. Yes. Mm-hmm. What is ha?
مفعول به
Mm-hmm. مفعول به was red. Okay. حتى يخرجوا منها. What do you think?
متعلق بالفعل.
So, but you look at يخرجوا, what kind of,
Yeah.
what is that?
فعل again.
فعل
فعل
again.
مضارع
And is it light?
مضارع. Yes, it is light.
Light.
So حتى could be
And
what?
حرف
حرف
ناصبة.
ناصبة.
Yes. So this is another حرف ناصبة, just like an, as lan, sorry. And then of course it acted on يخرجوا and it became light. So this is our فعل. And of course the فاعل, I don't know why it's doing partial coloring here.
فاعل
But
فاعل.
yes, فاعله هم. ضمير مستتر. متصل in this case because the wow is outside here. Yep. Then you have منها.
منها جار مجرور متعلق بالفعل.
بالفعل.
Yes. So منها is connected to يخرج. Okay. That's basically that kind of negation. And we've seen how lan has an effect, put a fatha on it, and another harf nasiba made the noon disappear. So it was supposed to be يخرجون, the noon disappeared, and then you have يخرجوا. So how do we translate that?
They
We
will
will not
not
enter it until they leave from it.
Yes, we will not enter it until they leave from it. Or yeah, they come out of it. Good. Any questions so far, guys? We good? All right. وعلى الله فليتوكل المؤمنون. Yes, Fahim, Sayyida Fahima.
Sister Ilham, please correct me if I'm wrong. Mutalik bil fail will be under two conditions if it is having mudaf ilayhi and harf jar and jar majrur, right? Jar majrur.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
But
I didn't get
actually, mutalik bil fail,
it.
you can identify by two things. One is mudaf ilayhi in a sentence, and one is jar majrur. Is it correct?
No, not just any mudaf. Special mudaf of zarf.
Special mudaf or zarf.
Of zarf.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Or you can just say zarf. If you put in your mind zarf, then it's going to be a muta'alliq, build something, whether fi'al or ism.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
For Jumla Ismiya, it is allowed, right? For any mudaf ilayhi is متعلق بالخبر. And on Jumla Ismiya, it has to be special mudaf or jar majroor, right?
No, I thought it was darf for all. I'm not sure about that because what I know is darf for both, but I will confirm.
You're right. They're
It's
for
both.
both or
Yeah.
special mudaf, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so it has to be just darf. It cannot be any mudaf, special mudaf. Just darf specifically. Okay. وعلى الله فليتوكل المؤمنون. What is this first part that we're looking at?
حرف
jar
أطف.
majroor.
متعلق بالفعل
Yes. مقدم, right?
مقدم
Then we have that.
فال حرف جازمة
Oh, there we go. Yes, that is a harf jazima. And so what did it do to the mudari' that came after it?
it makes
Lightest.
it lightest. Yes.
Yeah. But then there's a kasra here. How do you explain that?
To connect it to the next word,
Yes. So just to
we
connect,
put
to make it
kasra.
easy. Yeah. To make it easy to read. You can't say فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. You will strangle yourself trying to read that. So just to make it smooth, فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Even though we know there's a sukun here because of fal. وَالْفَلِّ. Remember? إن لم لما والفلي. So يتوكل, we said that is
فعل مضارع
our فعل, right? And then what is
مضارع
our فعل?
مؤمنون.
Yes. How did we know that?
مؤمنون in his رفع status.
Yeah. So يتوكل is the هو version. هو يتوكل, هما يتوكلان, هم يتوكلون. And because of the هو version, we have the liberty to look at something.
How can we say the إعراب of it? يتوكل.
يتوكل is فعل
Yes.
مضارع مجزوم بفل or بلم, depending on, because fa can come or wa can also come with lam. So it's just, yeah.
And فاعله المؤمنون.
Yes, فاعله المؤمنون. Yeah, just say فاعله المؤمنون. Yeah.
Isn't this wow حرف أطف
Where?
in the beginning?
Yeah. It could be حرف عطف, it could be حرف استئناف, depending on what's happening before. So if it is connecting to something else, then we will say it's a connector, حرف عطف. If it is beginning a new sentence, then we'll say it is استئناف, just starting a new sentence. So sometimes you would use wa to just begin a new sentence or to distinguish between this sentence and the previous one.
Okay.
Okay. How do we translate this? Remember, وعلى الله is مقدم, and of course, because the Jumlah Fi'liyyah, we will start with the doer.
And only to Allah all the believers should rely.
Yes. Because fal means should, so that's why we are saying should. All right. كذلك يضرب الله الأمثال.
Ala means to or upon.
You can say, so this is one of those cases. Ala could mean several things. Like I just mentioned, ala also up here. I don't know which one. Alayhim. So we said on them. It could be upon them. It could be to sometimes. Some of these huruf, they have several functions and they have several meanings. So you could say and only to Allah or upon Allah also is fine. Only upon Allah, depending on how you translate it. Right. كذلك يضرب الله الأمثال. So كذلك, what does كذلك mean?
Like that.
Like that.
Yeah, so this is just a phrase. كذلك لا محل لها من الإعراب, I think. And then we go to يضرب الله الأمثال. What is happening here?
يضرب is فعل. لفظ الجلالة is
فاعله لفظ الجلالة.
Yes, فاعل لفظ الجلالة.
الأمثال مفعول به.
Yes, الأمثلة مفعول به منصوب. You can add that if you want.
Okay. Mansub.
And sometimes you will hear in books of translation وعلامة نسبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. So on the sign that shows that it is mansub is the fatha that is apparent on the last letter. So they will just say all of this. Personally, I like to ignore all that because it doesn't add anything to my Quranic knowledge. But yeah, it's good to know what it means so that when you're reading a book and Ustad is it will have us read some books. At least when you see some of these phrases, you're not like, what does that mean? When you see ومفعول والأمثال مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نسبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره, you're like, what is all this Arabic I'm seeing here? So it's just good to know so that you can ignore. Okay, so how do we translate this?
Like that.
Allah.
Yeah, like that, or in that way, or what else do they say?
Strikes.
Sorry?
Allah sets an example.
Strikes.
Strikes.
Or
Yeah, the ribu strikes in that way. Allah strikes.
the examples.
Yeah, we can say the example or just example. I'm not so sure about this L here.
It's amsala. Is it broken plural?
Yes, it is. It is a broken plural
So,
of matal.
examples.
Yeah. Example. Like that or in that way, Allah strikes examples. Something.
What we call broken plural in Arabic?
جمع التكسير.
Yeah, Jamu Taksir.
So there are several jam'as, there are several plurals. You have جمع مؤنث سالم, that would be
What
the,
is Jamu?
sorry?
Jamu Killa was something also.
جمع قلة is a plural for less. It's like you have you have جمع قلة and جمع كثرة. So جمع قلة, for example, سماوات, that would be جمع قلة. Like when you have 1 to 10, أيام معدودات, that would be جمع قلة. It's a plural, but it's a lesser plural from 1 to 10. And then you have, or from 3 to 10, sorry, not 1. Obviously, 1 is not a jama. 3 to 10. And then you have جمع كثرة, سماء. That would be now 10 and above. Okay, like many, many more. Yeah. So there are several. And also there's isim jama'a, there's, yeah. Like isim jama'a is basically what we call qawm qarn and those nation. Yeah, that's the Arabic word for it. Again, it's just good to know so that you can ignore these words. So that you don't.
I remember,
yes,
wherever comes amsal, then it's an example. So normally daraba means to hit.
Yeah.
And amsal, I think it means set an example, I think.
Yeah, set an example, yeah. Yeah, you can even say like that. That's examples. So yeah, of course, yadhrib has so many meanings in the Quran and so many usages in the Quran. If you just look up this word specifically, because even in the story of Musa, the mother of Musa was, was hitting Musa to make him sleep. So there's that also. This verb is used, daraba. So it has several meanings. And also Musa was commanded to strike a fountain, and this word was used. And then 12 springs gush forth. So it's used very in a versatile manner. There's so many versatility to this word. And if you look at just the dictionary meaning of it, you probably see pages and pages of explanation of just this one word. And that's the amazing nature of the Quran and how the different words are used. Alhamdulillah. But if you just learned that daraba means to beat or to hit, then you come and read the Quran and you translate as Allah beats an example or Allah hits an example, you'll be like, what is this? So, alhamdulillah for learning Arabic and this beautiful language. All right. So there's a lot more we have to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to just skip ahead because I think we're moving really slowly. Or unless you guys want us to do this and then maybe tomorrow we just continue with these same exercises. I think we can also do that. That we just don't go so fast and we miss out on certain concepts. Yeah, so that's what we'll just we'll go on and see where we end, and then tomorrow we'll pick up from where we left. And then next week, inshallah, we'll start passives. Is it passives? I think so. All right. هل ينظرون إلا أن يأتيهم الله في ظلل من الغمام والملائكة وقضي الأمر. So what is هل? Let's take this bit.
حرف استفهام.
Yes, this is a question word. اسم الاستفهام. And then you have ينظرون.
فعل.
فعل مضارع.
Yeah, this is فعل مضارع.
فاعله هم.
فاعله هم, yes.
And then we say ضمير متصل, right? Not مستتر.
Yes, متصل. Yeah.
ضمير متصل. الواو.
Yes, الواو ضمير
Right.
متصل. Yeah. Or sometimes you'll see الواو والجمع ضمير متصل. Sometimes they'll call the واو for plural as, yeah.
فاعله هم.
Yes. تقديره هم.
تقديره هم.
Yeah, if you're going to say الواو ضمير متصل الفاعل تقديره, you have to add تقديره هم. You can't say again هم. Yeah. If you want to include the home part, you have to say تقديره هم. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have إلا. This is like it's called except. Yeah, means except. So we'll just color that gray. And this is a kind of negation structure. No, it doesn't come here. I don't see the negation here. So this just means except here. And then you have an. What kind of a word is? Yeah, an is a light harf. So if it comes with a mudari, what do we expect with a mudari?
Should become light. So
Yeah.
it's يأتي.
Yeah, and you see the fatha is right here. يأتي. So an bit on يأتي, then it became يأتي became يأتي, basically.
Yes.
So that's blue. That's our fi'l. And if this is our fi'l, what could be our...
Allah. لفظ الجلالة is fine.
Yeah, because this is the huwa version. So we have the liberty to go outside and look for any other rafa. And then we just look out here and we see a lafzul jalala is marfu'. So that's our outside dua.
هم is مفعول.
Yeah, hum is مفعول به. في ظلل من الغمام.
متعلق بالفعل.
Yeah, so I'll go all the way up to here.
Yeah.
And then call this my muta'alliq. And then we have wal malaika too. What do you guys think happening here?
واو حرف عطف.
Yeah, connecting to what though? What is it connecting to? Do you see any rafa in that sentence?
الله.
Allahu.
Yeah, al-lafzul jalala, not Allahu. We say al-lafzul jalala. So the word Allah, because if you say it is connected to Allah, then that's kind of some shirk business happening there. We don't want to do that. Yeah. So we say it's connected to the word Allah. Okay, so this will be our other dua. Because it's rafa, and al-lafzul jalala is also rafa, so this is connected to that. And then وَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ. What is qudiya? What do you think is happening there?
مضاف مضاف.
Yes, this is a mudaf. No, it's not a mudaf actually. Because qudiya, qada, yaqdi, this is a fi'al, not an ism.
It's a passive one.
Yes, it's a passive.
الأمر
الماضي
الفاعل.
في الماضي مبني للمجهول.
Yeah.
نائب الفاعل الأمر.
Yes, al-amru will be the na'ib al-fa'il. I'm just going to color it gray, even though, you know, it's the na'ib al-fa'il.
But
Okay.
it has a wow, so it wouldn't be connected to the past sentences.
Yes, it can. Yeah, it is connected, or it could be a new sentence. So wow could mean connection. It could mean new sentence. So you just have to look at what is it connected to. Like, for example, here in wa malaikatu, wal malaikatu, this is an ism, and it is in rafa. So it is definitely connected. You can't just have an ism as a sentence or something. It has to be connected to something else. So that's why we went and looked if there's something that is marfu' before, and we found lafzul jalala is marfu'. But this could be a new sentence, or it could be connected to another fi'l in the sentence as well. But I think in this case, it's a new sentence. Yes, Sayyida Fatima? Fahima, sorry.
So say Ilham, if the waw it's making a new sentence, so that is called a jumla haliyah.
If whatever follows it is a jumla ismiya.
If it is jumla ismiya, okay.
But this is not a jumla ismiya.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So we figured out some of these parts. So now we can try and figure out the meaning of this. Okay. Maybe before we do that, I'm just gonna go on and talk to you about this part a little bit. So what you have is you have dulalin min al-ghamam. Let's look at that structure a little bit. It's going to be a little bit advanced, but yeah, more than what we've done so far. But I think we've already covered this in the future classes, so we can still look at it. So when you have dulalin min al-ghamami, what kind of a structure do you think would be happening there? Any ideas? You have
Jumla
something?
ismiya shades.
Common followed by jar majroor.
Which
Sifa.
makes, yeah.
It becomes sifa.
Yes, it becomes a sifa because this is common. It's a common ism. It's a mufrad, singular, and it's followed by a jar majroor. So that means this min al-ghamami is a sifa of dulal. Okay, and that whole thing is majroor to fi. I just wanted to clarify that so that when we are making the sentence, we can understand what's happening there. So a few things, maybe some vocabulary. Yanduruna, to wait. It's supposed to be yantadiruna, but then the tag got, for balagha reasons, it got eaten up. So yanduruna, that's the word, to wait. And then tiyahum, to come. Dhulalin is a cloud. Min al-ghamami, sorry, dhulalun is shade. Shade, min al-ghamam, from cloud. A shade from the cloud. A shade from the cloud. That's what it means. Qudi al-amr, and the matter has been decided. Like it has been, decided. That's qudiya. So now let's try and translate this. It's a question. هل ينظرون? So we can say, are they? What is ينظرون? I just said it.
To wait.
Yeah. Are they? So illa an, we can say until. Except if. So we can just say until. So the meaning would be except if
Allah came to them. Why if?
an.
An means to or that. In means if, right?
Sorry. How do you translate this then? Illa an. Except that. Sorry. Yeah,
except that.
Yes. Thank you for noticing that. I was going in a different direction. So are they waiting except that Allah
Came to them.
or comes, here, because it's present.
Yeah.
So say comes to them.
Comes to them, yeah.
Fi, in a shade.
Shade from cloud.
In a shade of cloud, we can say, in a shade of cloud. Min al-ghamami. Or in a shaded cloud. Even that's better because it's not so sifa. In a shaded cloud. And
The angels.
So that will be the question.
Have decided the matter.
Yeah. The matter is decided. So that's kind of like what is happening in that ayah. Are they waiting except that Allah comes to them in a shaded cloud and the angels, and the matter is decided? Basically, what this is talking about the day of judgment. Allah will come with the angels, and Allah would, come on a shaded cloud. We don't know what that means or how that looks like. We just accept what it says. So that's how Allah will come. So Allah is asking these people rhetorically, are they waiting for that to happen? And by that time, the matter is already decided. Like, it's already judgment day. It's the end. You can't go back and change things, right?
Mr. Ilan,
Yes.
Fuzia is past tense, right?
Sorry, what? Qudia. Yes.
Past tense.
Yes.
So the matter was decided, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can say was or is, because in this case, judgment day has not yet come. So, and sometimes the Quran talks like this, like it would talk in the past but mean the future. There's actually a chapter we did about this, where you can use the Madi to talk about the future, or you can use the Mudari to talk about the past, or use the Mudari to talk about the future.
Is it
Things like that.
Qudiyah is passive?
Sorry?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like it's going to happen. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Yes. That's how
Qudiyah is passive.
Yes, Qudiyah is
It is
passive.
done.
So
And
qada,
Qudiyah is passive too, right?
yes, it is passive. So قضى يقضي قضاء فهو قاضٍ. Then قضي يقضى. Yeah, مقضي. So that is.
So, Ilham, why we are using the question mark where the matter is decided as well? How would you know that the question is getting extended up till the Qudiyah al-Amru?
That's just me like trying to make sense out of it. Like, by that time, the matter would already, like, are they waiting for the matter to also be decided? Like, is that what they're waiting for? So I'm linking it back to هل ينظرون. Or you could read it as وقضي الأمر, and the matter is already decided. And yani, meaning by this time, if this is what they're waiting for, the matter is already decided. So you can read it as a question, part of the question, hal, or you can read it as a separate thing. Maybe we can even check the translation of it. Although we don't have time. We don't have time at all. We have like 2 minutes. So basically, maybe we can post in the group the translation of this. So why I posted this ayah here is because I wanted us to look at question words, how we do questions, and I think we also discussed a couple of them yesterday. Man, min, how to ask questions. Hal is one of them. There are other question words, is asma'ul istifham. You can look at them in the book. Mata, aina, mada, ma, all these are questions. You can see the whole list in the book. And then the thing is, you just put the question word in the beginning. That's it. Like in English, you put the question mark and it tells you it's a question. In Arabic, just put the question word in the beginning, it becomes a question. Nothing much to it. Maybe we will do this last one because it's a short one and it's a rather important one. And then we can end the session, inshallah. So, lima adinta lahum. Lima adinta lahum. What do you think is happening here?
Ismul istifham, lima.
How did you know that?
Why?
Okay. Yes. So when harf jar, these are two parts actually. And the reason why I put it there is because of that. When harf jar comes with ma, istifham, ma of question word. So normally this was going to be like this. It was ma question word. Yeah. It was like that. But then when harf of jar bit on it, we don't say lima because you've encountered this word before, lima, right? It's something else. No, that's lamma. I'm actually saying something else. The alif goes away. When harf of jar beats on a ma of istifham, the alif goes away. Just like amma, you have an plus ma, but in the surah, it's actually written amma. The alif went away. So you have lima, amma, hattama, idama, all those. When those harf, they come, they beat on it and the alif goes away. So that's why I just wanted to bring this. So when you see this in the Quran, it is a question word and the alif went away. And then of course, adinta, what do you think adinta is?
Where
Yes.
Anta.
Yeah, so this is the فعل ماضي. The fa'il is of course the inside pronoun there. It refused to color. This we're just going to color it gray. And then لهم.
جار مجرور
Yeah.
متعلق بالفعل.
Yeah. جار مجرور متعلق بالفعل. So أذن يأذن to give permission. So how do we translate this?
Why you permit them?
Yeah. Why did you permit them? Or why did you give them permission? Simple as that. So the Prophet ﷺ is actually being questioned by Allah. Like, why did you allow them? Why did you permit them in this ayah? So we'll end there. Let me officially stop the recording and then we'll pick up from there. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.